Do you use your smartwatch or any fitness tracker to track the calories you burn while walking or maybe doing any other activity? Then this video is for you. Dr. Walk. Join me when I discover the science behind these small devices. I cover a lot of things like how they actually calculate the calories, how accurate they are, all based on science. So before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and let's dive in. But first thing first, what is calorie? A calorie is a measure of energy. There's a scientific definition for it. It's the energy required to increase the temperature of 1 milliliter of water 1 degree Celsius. Calories are a measure of how much energy we get from food and also how much energy we spend doing different activities. For example, if you see calories for a specific food, it means that how much energy that food provides for your body. There is another term for measuring energy, which is joule. Joule is more common in the scientific community. Each calorie is 4.2 joule, so we can convert between them. But when we talk about energy in foods or energy in humans, it's more common to express it in calories. Another thing about calorie is sometimes it is expressed in 1,000 calories because sometimes the calorie amount is so small, so it's more convenient to express it in 1,000 units or kilocalories. So sometimes you see on the food packages or in activities that calories are reported in kilocalories instead of calories. Different foods have different amounts of calorie. For example, a medium-sized apple has about 72 calories, or a bagel has about 289, or chicken breast 142. And these are just estimates, they are not exact. When we walk or do some other activity, our body needs energy to contract our muscle to perform that movement. This energy comes from the food we consume. But how these conversions happen, energy from the food to energy we need for doing activities like walking. Our body uses a molecule called adenosine triphosphate or ATP to store the energy we get from the food, and also uses this molecule to release the energy stored. Think of ATP as a rechargeable battery. When we consume food, the energy is stored in ATP, the same way you charge your battery. But when we want to do an activity like walking, our body taps into these rechargeable batteries and use them to provide energy for doing that activity, the same way we use batteries to charge our devices. This means that the numbers of the calories we see on our smartwatches or our fitness trackers, they show the amount of energy our muscles use to keep us moving. As you can imagine, different types of activities spend different amounts of calories. This also depends on other factors like the intensity of the activity, the person, and the duration. For example, for a 125-pound person, calories burned in 30 minutes of walking at 3.5 miles per hour is about 107. Running at 5 miles per hour is about 204. And weightlifting for 30 minutes is about 90 calories. Let's explore how scientists measure calories in the lab. It's through a method called indirect calorimetry. It's a technique used in the lab to estimate the calories burned by measuring amount of oxygen consumed and carbon dioxide produced by the body. Here is how it works. When we breathe, we take in oxygen and produce and exhale carbon dioxide. When we engage in an activity, we inhale more oxygen and exhale more carbon dioxide. Scientists use this change in difference between the gases to estimate how much energy we spend. In a lab setting, this is typically done using a metabolic cart. The person being tested wears a mask or a mouthpiece connected to the cart, which monitors their breath. As they perform various activities like walking on the treadmill, the cart measures the volume of oxygen they consume and the carbon dioxide they exhale. By analyzing these measurements, scientists can determine how much energy or calorie we burn. This method is highly accurate and can provide us insight about how much energy we consume during different activities and what factors affect that. Indirect calorimetry is the gold standard in measuring calories burned in research settings. This method is foundational for calibrating and validating algorithms used in fitness trackers or smartwatches to estimate calorie burns. But obviously, these smartwatches and fitness trackers are not as accurate as indirect calorimetry because they don't have access to the data like the gases you inhale or exhale during doing activities. How then these devices measure calorie burned? They use a combination of sensors and algorithms. Let's review sensors first. Fitness gadgets are equipped with different types of sensors, but three of them are more common: accelerometers, heart rate sensors, and GPS. Accelerometers measure how fast you move. Using these and some specific algorithms, they can determine what type of activity you are doing and at what level. Heart rate monitors measure your heart rate. They are the green flashing light on the underside of your smartwatch. Use this small green LED light in combination with a light sensor that help measure your heart rate. This is because your blood actually can absorb green light. That's why your fitness tracker can determine your heart rate by measuring the amount of and difference in light absorption at any given time. The last sensor is GPS. It's like the GPS in your phone. It tracks your position and can determine the distance you moved. It is especially useful for outdoor activities. There could be other sensors in these devices like barometers or magnetometers, but we can ignore them for now. Overall, what these sensors actually do is they provide data for the algorithms, which we cover next. We talked about sensors. Now let's talk about algorithms. One common value in determining calories burned with smartwatches is your basal metabolic rate, the energy required per unit of time for a person to keep the body functioning at rest. Some of these functions are breathing, controlling body temperature, circulating blood throughout the body, and so on, and all these things that we don't think about. When you first set up your smartwatch or fitness gadget, you enter some information about yourself, like age, height, your gender, or your weight. These values will be used to determine your BMR. And this BMR will be used in other algorithms to determine the calories you burn each day. Here is an example of the equation used to calculate BMR. As you can see, it's different for men or women. Your fitness tracker may use this one or other algorithms. Next value is your activity level. As I said before, this is determined by data from sensors like accelerometers or heart rate monitors. This activity level is also plugged in some other algorithms. Here is an example of the equation used to determine calories burned per minute. It uses your heart rate, your weight, and your age. Your fitness tracker may or may not use this equation or use a different equation. We don't know, because these are their secret sauce. They probably use artificial intelligence also to make these algorithms more accurate. Now let's talk about the big question. How accurate are these smartwatches and fitness trackers? But let's clarify what we mean by being accurate. It means how close the calorie calculation from these devices are to the gold standard, the indirect calorimetry. There are many studies comparing smartwatches with the gold standard. I will review and present two of them, but don't be surprised by the findings. The first one is a study that reviewed 158 previous studies that performed this comparison on 9 different commercial wearable devices you see on the market, and all the big names are among them. The results? None of them was accurate. They either underestimated or overestimated the calories burned. By how much? Up to 200%. Meaning that, for example, if your device is showing you burned 100 calories, it is possible that you burned 30 or 300 calories, or anything in between. Surprising, right? But also reports that these devices are more accurate in measuring number of steps and heart rate. So I'll rely more on them than calories. The second study is this one, which is done in 2017 by researchers from Stanford University. They measured accuracy of fitness gadgets in measuring calories in different tasks like walking, running, sitting, and biking. They reported that the error rate across tasks varied from 27 to 92%. For walking, the median error was around 32%. The take-home message here is that maybe you should care less about the calorie numbers you see on your smart devices and focus on other measures like number of steps or your heart rate. Here are some tips to improve the accuracy of your device, although there is no guarantee that they will be accurate 100%. Ensure proper fit. When they are properly fit at your wrist, they can better measure your heart rate and your activity. Keep it updated. With each update, they improve the sensor accuracy and their algorithm. Consistent placement. Wear your device more so that they can more reliable data from your body and your activities. Thank you again for watching, and until the next video, let's keep walking. Dr. Walk.